Good morning class. I'll be explaining with the same chapter. Chapter 4 expansion of the British rule and the page number is 52 and these are the topic which I'm going to explain today. So in the last class I've explained up to the three Carnatic wars. So today's first topic is expansion of British power in India. All the uh, all the other trading companies given the opportunity would have been wanted to colonize India to promote their commercial interests. The English were successful in defending all trading companies desirously of taking control of parts of subcontinent. The question is why were only the English successful? We will explore the reason in this chapter. So all the other trading companies, trading companies means the Portuguese, the Dutch, the French, the English, they were all given the opportunity to colonize India, to promote their commercial interests. So among the Portuguese, Dutch, and the British, the English were very successful in defending all the companies desirously. So the English were very successful in defeating all the trading companies desirously of taking control, even they taking control of the parts of the subcontinent. The question is why the English only the English successful? We will explore the reason in this chapter. By the mid 19th century, a large part of India was under the control of the British East India Company. It began with the Battle of Plassey in Bengal and ended with the revolt of 1857. Take note of the map given below and subsequently read about the various stages in which the English took control of such a large number in the subcontinent. So by the mid of the 19th century, a large part of India was by the mid 19th century, the large part of the India was under the control of English East India Company. So it began with the Battle of Plassey in Bengal and ended with the revolt of 1857, the War of 1857. So take the note in your textbook. There is a map. Here you can see the where the Battle of Plassey were fought, and even read about the various stages in which the English took control of such a large area in the subcontinent. Next topic is conquest of Bengal. Bengal was the first state to be occupied by the British in 1764. After the death of Aurangzeb, the Mughal Empire became weak. Nawab Sirajuddaulah challenged British activities like non-payment of custom duties in Bengal. So, Bengal was the first to be occupied by the British in 1764. So, after the death of Aurangzeb, the Mughal Empire became very weak. So, even Nawab Sirajuddaulah challenged British activities as like the British did not pay the custom duties in Bengal. Sirajuddaulah was suspicious of English activities from the very beginning, defying his order. The English fortified their settlement in Calcutta in 1765. As Sirajuddaulah was suspicious of English from the English activities from the very beginning. So, defying his order, the English fortified their settlement in Calcutta in 17. In the previous in last class, I've explained about it. Sir Thomas Roe visited the Mughal court and took the permission for trade. Though the Mughal gave them the permission for trade, but they were not allowed to fortify their factories. But the English defying the order of the Mughal Empire. So, later on, they fortified their settlement in Calcutta in 1756. Siraj objected to it and ordered military action against the British. So Sirajuddaulah objected the fortification fortified the fortifies of the English settlement and ordered military action against the British. His armies held the British as prisoner in the dungeons of Fort William. Here, one of the prisoners alleged that 146 British officers were shut in the room, 22 feet long and 14 feet wide. leading to death by suffocation of 123 officers. However, this account of the so-called black hole tragedy had been questioned by several scholars and historians subsequently. So, for this act, the British held the armies of Sirajuddin held the British as prisoners in the dungeons of Fort William. So here one of the prisoners alleged that 146 British officers were shut. They were closed in a room. The room was 22 feet long and 14 feet wide, leading to death by suffocation. So many of these British officers were died by suffocation. The total number of death of the soldier is 123. So however, this account of the so-called black hole tragedy had been questioned by several scholars and historians subsequently. The next topic is Battle of Plassey, 1757. The Battle of Plassey is an important landmark in the history of India. On the 23rd June 1757, the armies of Sirajuddin and the English East India Company met at Murshidabad, the capital of undivided Bengal. At the time, British forces were led by Robert Clive and Mir Jafar, commander-in-chief, and Nawab Sirajuddin army. Mir Jafar betrayed the Nawab and supported Clive. The Battle of Plassey 1757 was the important landmark in the history of India. So in 23rd June 1757, the armies of Sirajuddin and English East India Company met at Murshidabad, the capital of undivided Bengal. At the capital was undivided at the time. So the British forces was led by Robert Clive and Mir Jafar, commander-in-chief of Mir Jafar, commander-in-chief of Nawab Sirajuddin army. So Mir Jafar betrayed Nawab Sirajuddin and supported Clive in this battle. As a consequence of this, Sirajuddin lost the battle, was captured and killed. Mir Jafar was rewarded and he was made the Nawab of Bengal. This was the first step towards direct administration of Bengal by the company. So, as Mir Jafar supported Clive, so as a consequences of this, Sirajuddin lost the battle and he was captured and killed. As Mir Jafar was rewarded for this act and was made the Nawab of Bengal. So this was the first step towards the direct administration of Bengal by the company. Thereafter, in spite of being the Nawab, Mir Jafar was just a puppet in the hand of the British, with a powerless ruler in the throne of Bengal. The company traders exploited the Indian artisan and traders for their commercial interests, making Bengal economically weak. There are no possibilities of reversing their deteriorating economic trade. As Mir Jafar started resisting British authority, the British arbitrarily replaced him with Mir Kazim and to further the interest. So therefore, in spite of being the Nawab, Mir Jafar, he was just a puppet. He was just the puppet in the hand of British. So with the powerless ruler of the throne of the though he was the Nawab, but it was a powerless ruler on the throne of the Bengal. So the company traders exploited the Indian artisans and traders for their commercial interests, making Bengal economically weak. So therefore, there was no possibility of reversing the economic condition of the Bengal. As Mir Jafar after all this, Mir Jafar start resisting British authority. The British arbitrarily replaced him. After he resisted the British authority, he was replaced with Mir Kazim to further their interests. The next topic is Battle of Buxar. Mir Kazim was initially very generous and friendly with the British, but After a few years, he refused to accept their control. The hostility between the British and the Mir Jafar increased, and the British declared a war. Mir Kazim lost the war and led to Awadh, soliciting support from Sirajuddin Allah, Nawab of Awadh and Shah Alam II. So, in the Battle of Buxar 1764, Mir Kazim was initially at first he was very generous and friendly to the British, but after a few years he refused to accept their control. So this hostility between the British and the Mir Kazim increased, that the British declared a war. So in this war, Mir Kazim lost the war and he fled to Awadh, soliciting support from Suja'ud-Dawla. It took the support from Suja'ud-Dawla, Nawab of Awadh and Shah Alam II. And then the Mughal emperor, they combined forces of these three forts with the British army in Buxar. So then the Mughal emperor, the combined forces of these three, the war fought between the Mir Kazim, Suja'ud-Dawla, Nawab of Awadh and Shah Alam II. The three fought the war with the British army in Buxar, but were defeated. They had to pay heavy price, including a major concession in terms of revenue collecting rights or Diwani of Bengal. The Battle of Buxar was singularly important even in British history. So even they were defeated. They were defeated in the war. They had to as they had to pay a heavy war price, including the major concession in terms of revenue collection, rights of Diwani of Bengal. But the Battle of Buxar was a singularly important event in Indian history. Next topic is dual government. After 1765, Bengal, Bihar and Orissa paid their revenue to the British East India Company according to Diwani rights granted to them by the Mughal king Shah Alam. So after 1765, Bengal, Bihar and Orissa paid their revenue to English East India Company according to the Diwani rights granted to them by the Mughal king Shah Alam. The English East India Company was faced with the problem of how and whom to collect taxes. So the English East India Company had faced with the problem to how and whom to collect the taxes. They carried on the administration with the help of the Nawab official. This was called dual government. So they carried on the administration with the help of the Nawab officials. This was called dual government. Under this system, the administration of the kingdom was in the hand of the Nawab, but the control of the revenue was in the hand of the company. So under this dual government, the administration of the kingdom was under the hand of the Nawab, but the control of the revenue was in the hand. The administration system would be controlled by the Nawab, but the revenue collection revenue collection or control over the revenue was in the hand of the British, was in the hand of the company. This means that there were two rulers at the same time. The English East India Company benefited from this. So this means that there were two rulers at the same time. The East India Company benefited from this. On the other hand, they did not have take responsibility for organizing welfare measures for the people. So in the same time, they did not take any responsibility for organizing welfare pressure for the people, because they would fall under the purview of the Nawab administration. So because if they take the measure, they would fall under the purview of the Nawab administration. And on the other hand, the English East India Company controlled the revenue collected from the kingdom. The British had to control over the finances of his empire, as the British were not ready to share the revenue with the Nawab. So on the other hand, the British control the revenue collected from the kingdom. So the Nawab had to control over the finances of, as the British control all the revenue collected, so the Nawab had to control the finances of his own empire, as the English were not ready to share the revenue with the Nawab. The year 1717 witnessed the most severe famine of the country. Millions of people perished, but no responsibility were taken by the British East India Company. So the year 1717 was the most severe, as the most severe famine took place, and many people, millions of people perished, but no responsibility were taken by the East India Company. East India Company. This kind of mismanagement did not unnoticed in England, since the British East India Company was the only company that was granted permission by the Queen to trade in India. So this kind of mismanagement did not go unnoticed in England, since the English East India Company was the only company that was granted permission by the Queen to trade in India. There were enough people in the British Parliament jealous of riches that the company officials made through illegal private trade. So there were enough people in the British Parliament jealous of the rich of the company officials that they made illegal private trade. It is said that they made illegal private trade. They pointed out the rampant corruption inside the company and wanted severe action to be taken. So they pointed out there was a very rampant corruption inside the company is going on. So they wanted a severe action to be taken. Since the English East India Company was moving towards bankruptcy. So since at the time the English East India Company also was moving towards bankruptcy, it has other way but to depend on the British government for loan or survive. So they were moving towards the bankruptcy, and the East India Company had to depend on the British government for loan to survive. So in the next class I'll be explaining about other battles and the remaining topics. So that's all for today. Thank you.